Good morning, CSL, Simi Valley. So good to have you here with us this beautiful Sunday morning in Southern California. The weather's so great, I had to bring it outside. One, because I'm pre recording these opens for you today for a live rebroadcast this morning, Sunday morning, through our Facebook Live. So your chats and everything can be live. But I just wanted to let you know that this is not Sunday morning. But I think it's going to be like this on Sunday afternoon because, hey, it's Southern California. So apologies to all those that are watching from all those places that are not able to sit outside in relatively short sleeves and we'll look at oranges growing on the tree in the middle of the day. But it's gorgeous. Oh, my goodness. As is our community. What a gorgeous, loving community we have. And it was demonstrated on Wednesday when we had our candlelight service. Such a sweet service. Dennis Bryan and Cherie Deeds combining to bring us angelic music, truly beautiful music. All of our ministers, practitioners, and several of our members, including Emily and Maverick, doing the readings throughout the service. A relatively short talk, abundance blessing from Rob, where he talked about the law of circulation. It was a beautiful, beautiful candlelight service. If you couldn't have been there to see it live, hey, worry not. I have a little taste of it for you here, and I'll tell you more in just a moment.
I was really hoping that we could do an opening song together. So, to start the whole thing off.
What about that song? What is it? All I want for Christmas is my two front teeth. What about that? It's different.
It's very different.
That's going to be so good.
Well,
and then I
now
can do
there's
the
the
second
B-section.
part.
That's
So
true.
what is that? Seems so long since I touched you and wrapped my loving arms around your middle. Gosh, oh gee, how happy we'd be together for a giggle. How about that? And you do the next part.
It's brilliant. Oh my.
So shone the pale star to the prophets' shepherds, yet it traversed the night and came where in cradled obscurity lay the Bethlehem babe, the human herald of Christ.
And she gave birth to her firstborn, a son. She wrapped him in clothes and placed him in a manger.
Looking at the stars was what people did in those times. They cultivated the light of the night star all the time. And there was an alignment that was predicted to occur around the time of the birth of Christ, the birth of Jesus, who became the Christ. And so the Magi who came from the Orient, following these astrological charts, were following the stars to cultivate this light. And so I thought it was really interesting that this year, 2020, when we are called to our 2020 vision to see the light, where we've actually had to see things about humanity that we never thought we would have to experience or see, we have seen in this time. And then we have this conjunction taking place.
And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase.
I light this candle in recognition of the power that is God.
Glory's green from heaven above, heavenly hosts, hallelujah. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born.
Looks fun, doesn't it? Awesome. Right. So if you didn't get to see the whole thing or you just want to see it again, Paulette, our webmaster, is going to post it to our website, a link to the website, and it'll be available on YouTube within our channel, CSL Simi Valley. So you can go there and watch the candlelight service as you can watch any of the other services that we've had throughout the entire year, which I think now is up around 42 Zoom, Facebook services since this lockdown, since this 2020 year changed in a way that none of us could have imagined. But we have been managing, we have held it together, we are stronger, we are tighter as a result of it, because we really started to see through this experience of 2020 how we've all put our principles at work. We have been practicing religious scientists, doing the experiment of mind and positive spirit thinking, and now it has shown up in how we have been able to hold together throughout this year. Just one, the candlelight service, the number of times we've had our activities here through internet, all of that, evidence of how we live our vision and mission statement. Let's do that together right here and right now. We're community, inclusive, loving, and authentic. We celebrate all paths to God, in gratitude, empowering self and others. We serve compassionately through outreach, inspiration, and education. That's who we are. That's why we're here. And here's what we do.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to all of you joining our live Virch worship celebration. You know, that's our blend of virtual and church. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday. And I don't know about you, but I've heard said that hindsight is 2020, and I'm ready to leave 2020 behind. So I'm ready for a brand new year. I'm gonna just move it forward like this. Welcome to 2021, and let's go for it. All right, our weekly Wednesday night experience this week features yoga and only yoga, all the time. There will not be a regular Wednesday night program, but please give yourself a healthy treat and try yoga with Debbie at 5:30. Debbie Jarvis brings you an hour of spiritual yoga, a chance to consciously connect mind, body, and soul with the spirit within. Here's the Zoom information for yoga. The meeting ID, 878-5693-8671. And the passcode is 253932. On the following Wednesday, January 6th, the Simi Community Salon returns with Dorothy Morgan and Reverend Johanna Van Gelder. January's theme is moving forward. Like I said, 2021, here we come. Reverend Stephen's Oneness at One is on a brief hiatus until January 4th, when he'll return Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. on Facebook with his thoughts and daily spiritual musings. All right, we still have many short play and learn with Dr. Susan lessons on our YouTube archives. And Dr. Susan also streams live on Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m. through our CSL Simi website. Please know that our center's practitioners and ministers are always ready to provide emotional and spiritual support. Reach out to them for prayer or to schedule a session. Visit the center's website, look for practitioners, or just call the office. Today's service will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, CSL Simi Valley, where you'll find all of our past services archived for your viewing. Welcome to all of you viewing from wherever you are. We're so grateful that you've chosen to spend this time with us this morning. Now here's Cherie.
Spirit within me. I will read our affirmation, and then we will all say it together. I find perfect balance between honoring my pain, loss, or fear and affirming the positive. Together. I find my perfect balance between honoring my pain, loss, or fear and affirming the positive. My reading today is from the Science of Mind textbook by Ernest Holmes. We are living in an intelligent universe which responds to our mental states. To the extent that we learn to control these mental states, we shall automatically control our environment. This is why we are studying the power of thought as we approach the subject of spiritual mind healing. This is what is meant by the practical application of this science to the problems of everyday living. The result of this mental work is what is meant by demonstration. In the well-balanced person, emotion is controlled by the intellect, but in many people there is conflict between the emotion and the intellect. Emotion uncontrolled produces chaos. Emotion unexpressed produces confusion, conflict, and complexes, for energy must have an outlet. For everything that happens in the objective world, there must be something in the subjective world which perfectly balances it. Please join me now in our opening treatment. I know that there is only one source, one power, one beauty, one light, one wisdom. There is one back behind all that is, and that one goes by many names. Call it Spirit, call it Buddha, call it God, call it Allah, call it Atman. It is just all these names we have for the ideas of the perfection that is divinity itself. And each of us comes from that divine being. Each of us is created in a divine image, and so we each have those same attributes of wisdom and beauty and light and life and peace and joy. Right now we declare for this service that it is perfect, it is good, that it is fun, that it is community, it is sharing, that it is profound, that it is healing. We are so grateful for our teachers, for this service, for these centers, for our community, for everyone we come in contact with, whether it's by Zoom or phone or text, or even chatting at a social distance in the grocery store. We are so blessed to still be part of community. So from this place of blessing and gratitude, we give great thanks and great appreciation. And we release this word to the law, and the law says yes. And it is done unto us as we believe. And we accept this and we receive this when we say, and so it is.
Good morning, CSL Simi Valley. Nikki Starr here, once again sharing my music with you, and I'm so grateful. I hope you guys are well and staying healthy and balanced in your lives during these trying times. Getting out in nature, grounding yourself, and it's almost the new year. It's almost 2021. Yay! So happy almost 2021, and thank you for being here.
It was a time behind me when I walked away from everything I loved. Became my little secret when life's insistent fingers pointed straight at me. And though it was so hard to face, there's no running. So just keep on keeping on. There's no one to stop you, so just keep on keeping on. There's no turning back now, so just keep on reaching for the stars. Ooh. There's no hiding, oh, there's no running. Face the day, face the new day. Keep on keeping on. There's no one to stop you, so just keep on keeping on. There's no turning back now, so just keep on keeping on. There's no one to stop you, so just keep on reaching for the stars.
It's now time for our GAP meditation. GAP is an acronym for God Awareness Place. I'll keep the time for 3 minutes while we go quietly within, and each of us finds our own balance between breathing in, breathing out, and just being. Welcome back. If you don't usually meditate, I invite you to make this a part of your life. All you need to do is be quiet and really pay attention to something. It could be your breath, could be what you hear, or even your keyboard. Namaste.
Affecting us all together. Time changes all the trees, so I've got to stand for what I believe. I will stand with the coming new times, wash in and out of my life. I will stand through the changes that surround me, the different times and places I will see. Life's a test and it's plain to see. So I put my best foot forward and lend my heart to the rest. 'Cause times are changing right here, all around. Times are changing, we're crashing without a sound. There's no escaping, so I'll do what's for the better. 'Cause times are changing, affecting us all together. This world of fight keeps going round, TV and radio playing there, replay the sound. Love and technology, yes, they're moving fast. Each day breaking the moldcast of the past. What will nations deliver us? Love or war? What new things will I live to see? Now I see through different eyes. Yes, I will. As new ideas bloom while the old die. It's time for changing time. Changing right here, all around. Times are changing, we're crashing without a sound. There's no escaping, so I'll do what's for the better. 'Cause times are changing, affecting us all together. Times are changing time. 'Cause times are changing time. There's no escaping, 'cause times are changing, the times are changing, ooh, 'cause times are changing, ooh, there's no escaping, 'cause times are changing, time, ooh. No escaping, 'cause times are changing, time, yeah, yeah. Woo. Yeah.
Hello, CSL Simi Valley, my peeps, my beloved community. So happy to be here with you today during this holiday season, and I'm excited, really excited about sharing with you these ideas about balance in positive thinking versus emotional healing. And I chose this topic because it seems like some people are going through some stuff these days. There's a few things going on in the world if you weren't aware of them. There is a pandemic going on, and it hasn't been getting better lately. So how do we deal with this? Do we stay positive? Do we express our emotions? Or is it a both and? So I'm going to start by just sharing the evolution of my consciousness over the last 40 years or so. 46 years to be exact. So I started meditating about 18 years old. And I had some mystical experience as a result of my meditation. And then in my early 20s, I found New Thought and Science of Mind. And so I learned about something called positive thinking, and change your thinking, change your life. And I went through 5 years of training to become a minister. Was ordained in 1985, and when I was taking first year Science of Mind, or even all through my 5 years of training, it was all about the mind. It was all about positive thinking. There was really no talk about emotional healing or expressing one's emotions. It was all about just changing your thoughts. And the good thing about New Thought is it's new and it's open at the top. And so over the years, there's been an evolution that has included more and more emotional healing and shadow work and so on and so forth. In fact, the reason that my book, The Magic of the Soul, has become so popular in Science of Mind, I believe, is because it has a mix, a balance between spiritual psychology techniques for emotional healing and many other aspects, and New Thought, positive thinking. And so what happened for me is, when I completed my training and became a minister in Science of Mind, I found that I had a lot of repressed emotion that I had not dealt with through meditation, and I mean those things certainly helped, and through 5 years of Science of Mind training. And so I kind of moved away from New Thought for a little while and got into spiritual psychology, psychosynthesis specifically. Went through a 4-year training with Dr. Vivian King, the late great Dr. Vivian King, wonderful woman. And and then I went through this deep emotional healing work, shadow work, and I've been continue to do that work. And it's been a big part of my writing in The Magic of the Soul, and in my latest book, Meditation. There's a lot of this information in there as well as information on meditation. And so, and what this has led me to, I wanted to break it down for us, right? Because one of the things that I have found in dealing with this pandemic and other challenges in my life is, as a result of my practices that have evolved over these 46 years, I'm able to remain relatively at a place of peace, regardless of the challenge. And I continue to get better and better at this. Not perfect, not 100% enlightened. I do have issues. If you know me, you probably know that. And yet, throughout this pandemic, I've remained at a high level of joy and inner peace. And so, what I have noticed is most people start out on their spiritual path or self-growth path, as I did, by coming across some kind of literature that has to do with positive thinking, change your thinking, change your life, and that works, and we start applying these principles, and we realize that, wow, I really can have a profound effect on what I experience in life as a result of changing my thinking. But most of us then reach a plateau where we can't really develop any further, until we do that deep emotional work, until we perhaps even go even further than just emotional work into the shadow work. So I want to read a quote that I quote in my book from Carl Jung, and I'll give you the preamble to it and then the quote. It's a bit long, but I think it's really worth reading, an important point. We all have a dark side or shadow self. It contains our hatreds, prejudices, judgments, resistances, cruelties, jealousies, fears, angers, or rage. We come face to face with our shadow at different points in our lives through feedback from others, deep self-reflection, or messages in our dreams. Because of the propensity of the ego to present the self-image in the most favorable light, we may often discount or deny the shadow in these instances. If we open to our shadow self, however, we come to know ourselves at a truly deep level. Carl Jung went so far as to suggest that our entrance into the social unconscious, our connection to everyone and everything, can be through the narrow door of the shadow, as illustrated in this passage. The meeting of oneself is, at first, the meeting with one's own shadow. The shadow is a tight passage, a narrow door, whose painful constriction no one is spared, who goes down the deep well. But one must learn to know oneself in order to know who one is. For what comes after the door is, surprisingly enough, a boundless expanse full of unprecedented uncertainty, with apparently no inside and no outside, no above and no below, no here and no there, no mine and no thine, no good and no bad. It is the world of water, where all life floats in suspension, where the realm of the sympathetic system, the soul of every living thing, begins, where I am invisibly this and that, where I experience the other in myself, and the other than myself experiences me. Isn't that interesting? So, according to Carl Jung, and I experience this being true, is that by going down that deep well of the shadow, we actually, this is a perfect description of enlightenment, right? Or cosmic consciousness, or mystical experience that can happen in deep meditation, obviously, but it can also happen through doing deep self-exploration into one's shadow. So, so what I've found then is that positivity, a couple levels of positivity. So when we first find positive thinking, it's, I'll say it's not whole positive thinking. It's not completely holistic, because in the beginning we're focusing on what we want, or what we judge as positive, and if it doesn't happen, then there's resistance or there's disappointment, and then we need to deal with the emotions around that, right? So until we get to a certain level of emotional maturity, having done emotional release, cathartic release, having explored our emotions, having learned to express our emotions in healthy ways, then we come up against this block. If it's not positive, it's not good. And so I think that the degree of inner peace and joy that I continue to feel, even in the midst of challenge like this pandemic, there comes, once after doing this deep emotional work, a new kind of positivity, a positive, I'll call it holistic positivity, or holistic positive thinking, where we are focused on the positive or what we want, and at the same time we embrace everything that is. I think I want to share a little bit about the four kingdoms of consciousness, which were proposed by Michael Beckwith several decades ago. And so, let's see, do I need my notes for this? Probably not, but I'll use them as a crutch. Yeah, the four kingdoms in consciousness. So the first kingdom is life happens to me. That's victim consciousness, where that's before we're on a spiritual path, before we have self-awareness, and we're thinking that when things don't go well, it's because something's happening to me, right? And then, once again, we find some information about positive thinking, and we move into phase 2, or the second kingdom, which is life happens by me. Now I'm realizing, wow, I actually have power over my life by, how I think, by how I use my consciousness. And then again, we come up against, we can only go so far with that. And then we come to the fourth kingdom, the third kingdom, or third phase, which is life happens through me. Now we begin to see ourselves as a co-creator, and surrender, and the idea, the experience of surrender comes in. And so when things don't go the way I want them to, then I recognize there's a higher plan involved here, and I can surrender into that. And I can then, another way of saying that is I can elevate my consciousness to the perspective of the soul, right? When I'm seeing life only through the eyes of my personal self, or my ego self in some cases, then it's either good or bad. When I see it from the level or the consciousness of my soul, then I'm seeing life through the eyes of my soul. Then I see that there's always a larger perspective, a larger picture here. So that if something happens that I don't like, I can, my book, Magic of the Soul, is all about looking for the magic in every situation, or at least trusting that there is. So I can ask the question, what is the magic? Or what is the greater freedom, joy, love that wants to emerge from this situation? And and by doing so, then this brings me into a level of peace. And by the way, I may not always get an answer to that question, but it's by asking the question I change my relationship, right? I'm no longer a victim to life's circumstances. I'm now accessing power by looking for what there is that can emerge from this. And so, even if I don't get an answer to that question, I can trust that there is an answer, and that it will be revealed, right? In phase 4, or the fourth kingdom of consciousness, it's life as me. And that's when the boundaries just start to dissolve. And by the way, we can be in all 4 of these phases in one day, right? And yet, the evolution of consciousness is where we are less and less in the victim consciousness, and even less and less in phase 2 of by me, and ultimately less and less of through me, and recognizing that it's as me. And the more consistently, and that, that's a high level. I mean, most of us are not there most of the time, even people who have been studying these teachings for many, many years. It takes not work, because I don't believe in that work anymore. It takes intentional play to reach that level, right? So as me, life happening as me then, is when I'm really experiencing this oneness that we talk about in our teaching in a profound and consistent way. And so, gosh, I'm just inspired to ask us to take a deep breath into life as me. Recognizing that everything is happening perfectly all the time. Just feel that for a moment. No separation, no disconnect, no polarity, no opposites, no good or bad. All is one. All is good. Pandemic isn't good or bad, it just is. Viruses aren't good or bad, they just are. Did you know, I learned this through the pandemic, doing a little bit of research, that viruses are one of the most important elements in the evolution of life. We would not exist if not for viruses playing a part in the communication of DNA, right? And so Got to bless the virus. um, let's see, what was I going to share? Oh, I want to share a quote with you from Pam Grout. Her book, E Cubed, 9 More Energy Experiments That Prove Manifesting Magic and Miracles is Your Full-Time Gig. Here's the quote, my favorite quote of all time. Once you can say, and this is as me consciousness, once you can say, this is the best thing to happen to me about everything that happens in your life, you'll be aligned with the FP, field of consciousness. Field of potential. You aligned with the FP by loving everyone, by seeing the face of God in everything, by feeling happy, by being joyful and grateful for everything no matter what. Instead of letting the apparent reality, in quotes, dictate your feelings, you line up with the FP, which knows nothing but love, peace, and perfect contentment. So here's the thing, here's the litmus test. If I'm attempting that level of positivity, and I've still got a knot in my gut, then guess what? That means what is being called for is a deeper level of emotional release. So it's like almost all things in life where we see a polarity, it's a both and. So, sometimes I'm wondering if I'm being judged by people when I say, man, I feel like at peace and joyful virtually all the time. Well, he must be repressing, all the pain that he must feel from this pandemic or whatever challenges might be happening in life. And that's what, caused me to really look at, where is this inner peace coming from? How can I be at this state of joy and consistently? And it is this balance of focusing both on the positive and so I want to share with you some practices that to make this really practical. So number one, positive thinking. And it's not just about saying affirmations in the morning and, it's about consistency of consciousness. Quote by Ernest Holmes, off the top of my head, I'm going to paraphrase it, is, an hour in meditation, or I'll paraphrase it even more, spending an hour in affirmation, meditation, visualization, positive thinking, spiritual mind treatment, or 3 hours, in a day, he says, will not save you from the challenges and from the inner challenges in life. It's the 51% of consciousness matters. And that's consistently throughout the day, because if I'm spending an hour a day focused on the positivity, but then the rest of the time I'm walking around in dissatisfaction, things are not the way I want them to be. So ask that question, what percentage of the time on an average day are you in joy, in gratitude, compared to dissatisfaction? That'll tell you what level of positivity that you have. Many of you already know about the practice of pivoting that I've talked about many times, where you simply measure the percentage of the time you're focused on what you want in various areas. So if health is challenging you, what do I really want for health? I want a healthy body. So then just simply do a daily review. Look back over the day. What percentage of the time today was I focused on what I want, feeling good, compared to what I don't want, feeling discomfort? And just write down that number. That's the most important part of this practice, is writing down the number every night. If it's prosperity, what do I really want for prosperity in my life? I want to be financially free. What percent of the time during the day am I focused on financial freedom compared to I don't have enough money to pay the bills? So the true test of prosperity consciousness is not feeling prosperous when I have a lot of money. It's feeling prosperous when it looks like the bank is empty, right? It's feeling prosperous when it looks like I've got mountains of credit card debt. The true test of health consciousness is not feeling healthy when I'm feeling strong and vital and fantastic. It's when I've got coronavirus. Can I have the consciousness of health then? So that's the most powerful practice that I know for, and I see miracles happen for people within 30 days of doing this practice. And by the way, if you want more information on any of this, or if you want to do a complimentary coaching session with me, then just put a comment in the feed on wherever this shows up on social media, or can contact me through my Facebook page, or email or whatever. Most of you have my contact. So let's get to the emotional side of it. There's many techniques to use. One of them in my book, The Magic of the Soul, is, and this is the most powerful cathartic release that I know, came out of a system called body electronics that I learned years ago. And I adapted it for myself and did it in this way. I would go to a park or some place where I could make a lot of noise and not be bothered, not be, make people concerned about what's going on. So I'd go to a park early in the morning, and the first part of it is to run as fast as I can. And you can modify this in any way you want, but to do some kind of physical work that will get the blood pumping, get your breathing hard, just get the body tired a little bit, and then lay down on the ground and just press and notice what comes up and where you might feel tension in your body, and then press that area and just let out the sound. And let the sound come, and whatever feeling, emotion wants to come up. If it's anger, scream it out. If it's sadness, just cry it out. If it's fear, just shudder with it. Whatever needs to happen. And then when you notice a pause, like a sigh, a deep breath, then there's a completion there. That's when you want to then just fill up with a positive. The universe abhors a void. If you don't fill up with a positive after a release, then it will fill up with what it's most familiar with. And so you might cycle in, like do a release and there's anger, and then sadness comes, crying, and then laughter often comes when I do this. I used to do this 3 times a week in my 20s when I really needed to get rid of, or needed to heal this deep emotional, repressed emotion that I had. So that's the most powerful one I know. As I said, you can modify this. You can do jumping jacks in your room. You can scream into a pillow if you don't want anyone to hear in your household. And this exercise is in my book, in The Magic of the Soul. And most of these exercises are on my website too, livingpurposeinstitute.com. And all, if you want to contact me, I will send you any of these exercises. Just I'll, copy them out of the book and send them to you. Let's see, what else? So voice dialogue is the most powerful work I do with people in coaching. And I don't have time to give you an example of that, but what I'll give you the simple way of applying it is anything that you notice in yourself that you don't like about yourself. And this can apply to other people as well. Imagine it is a small child coming to you. How would you want to respond to a small child as the loving parent that is, let's say, fearful or angry or sad? Because so many people say, hey, we've got to do deep shadow work, but then, a couple sentences later, I've got this fear that I've got to get over. Well, if you said to a small child, I have to get her over you, how would it respond, right? It's going to become more fearful. And the thing that I say over and over 40 times a week in my coaching, in my ceremonies, in classes and so on, is whatever we resist not only persists but magnifies. Anything that we embrace becomes our ally, our teacher, and our healer. And so how would I want to respond to a fearful child? Is I'd want to embrace it and say, I'll keep you safe. So you notice fear come up. Rather than I have to get over it, rather than resisting it like we usually do, love it. Bring love to it. That's the answer to everything. Bring love to my fear. Bring love to my angry inner child. Bring love to my sad inner child. If I'm resisting sadness, if I'm resisting anger, guess what? They're going to magnify. If I embrace it, then it becomes my teacher and it begins to heal. And then I can direct these elements within myself, my own sad inner child in a new way. Our fearful child, every one of, I don't have time to go into all this. I wish I had more time. So I'll save that for another time. So I do have to wrap this up. So how do I want to complete here? We'll complete in the prayer that we're going to do. I think we'll just finish up with the affirmation. And and I want to say, by the way, we've decided to do our annual New Year's Eve shamanic intention setting ceremony by Zoom this year. And we weren't going to do it at all, and I thought, wow, when more if people needed to release the past and set positive intentions for the future. So contact me if you're interested in doing that with us. 6 o'clock Pacific time on New Year's Eve. And so the affirmation is, I find my perfect balance between honoring my pain, loss, or fear, and affirming the positive. So let's say it together. I find my perfect balance between honoring my pain, loss, or fear, and affirming the positive. One more way, I just want to add one more way. In my meditation, when I'm in my morning meditation, when I feel tension, it doesn't happen very often anymore, but if I do, then I just let it out right then and there. If I need to cry, I'll cry. If I need to scream, I'll scream. Then when I go into my meditation, they become the deepest meditations ever. Because now, rather than being half filled with anger or fear or pain, after releasing it, I'm an empty vessel that can be filled completely with spirit. So I didn't talk about meditation much, but if you're not meditating during a pandemic, what a great time to start. So I'm going to say the affirmation one more time so we close on that note. I find my perfect balance between honoring my pain, loss, or fear, and affirming the positive. So let's take this into prayer. Revealing prayer. Take a nice deep healing breath and let out a heartful sigh. Doesn't that feel good? Let's just know in this moment and feel in this moment that I, speaking in the first person for all of us, that I am in my perfect place on the evolution of my consciousness. That I am practicing positive thinking, and when the need is there to release my emotion in the moment when it's possible, or in retrospect, looking back over the day, wow, I was really angry there. I didn't have the opportunity or the consciousness to release it in that moment. So I'm going to release it now so that I can be clear. And now I can allow a higher level of positivity. And I embrace every aspect of life. I practice embracing everything and resisting nothing. And moving into that place of deep peace, deep joy, and deep love that fills me up, overflows into my life, into my relationships, into every aspect of living, and into the social unconscious, affecting all sentient beings, because everything that happens within me then becomes the microcosm for the macrocosm. And I recognize that I am one. And so it is. Love to you, my friends, And we will see you again really soon in 2021 in person. And I look forward to that day and that moment when I can give you a big hug.
Happy New Year, everybody. Love rain down on me. Love rain down on you. Let the power carry us through when there's nothing else around to. Love rain made me over till I can't crave anything more. Can wild horse and stable, it really truly sees the dawn. Compassion's what I need around. Let it rule my world up. No rain, no rain, no rain, no rain down. I've been broken down, I've been scared alone, I've seen the dark side of the day. The sun around but still stood in the shade. You can be my hope, yeah. You can loosen the silver chains and take me to the place where there's no way, no way, no way, no way down. Times are high and you're feeling low, and your hands are tied and your mind goes slow. Too much, too fast in empty, crowded rooms, with nothing but your thoughts haunting you, haunting you. It's when you stop and let love guide you. You can loosen your silver chains, take me to the place where there's no rain, no rain, no rain, yeah, no rain, no rain, no. Love rain down on me, love rain down on you. Let the power carry us through when there's nothing else around to.
The spirit of abundance flows through me. It lives inside my breath. As I inhale, the flow of abundance resides in every breath.
You know, one of the other ways that we have demonstrated the power of our vision and our mission statement, the tightness of our community, the love we have for CSL Simi Valley and its mission in the world, is the way we have shown up to support our center through this year. It's been a challenging time for a lot of centers, for us included. Our donations have been down 40 to 50% throughout the year. Yet we've managed to stay current with our bills. With the help of our landlord, we've been able to sustain our rent. We're behind somewhat, but he's been very gracious with us about it, and we're working every day to catch that up. And that's why I'm asking right now at this time, as we can contemplate abundance, contemplate our own good, the abundance we have in our lives. We are so blessed. I mean, think right now of where you are. Look around you. All that we have, all that we get to share at this time of year, this Christmas season. So as we come to the close of this year, I'm going to ask you, if you have any extra, if you, as Kathy Birch said, if you have a smooch more than what might feel comfortable to give, I encourage you to share that with CSL Simi Valley in your end-of-year gift. And what we are going to do as part of our vision and mission statement coming alive is any end-of-year giving we get, we will give 10% to one of a number of nonprofits that we have supported throughout the year. That list of nonprofits will be available in the next couple of Constant Contact e-blast, and also in a letter you will receive from me in your email box. So you make your gift and also select one of the nonprofits, and we will give 10% of all of our collections divided evenly among the nonprofits that receive check marks on the list. That makes sense? So we receive and we give because we practice the law of circulation. We practice all the spiritual laws. We make them real in our lives, and we all benefit from it. Thank you for your end-of-year gift. Thank you for the way you contemplate abundance. Thank you for being you and a member of CSL Simi Valley, whether you are a governing member, a member because you show up, a visitor, a friend, you're one of us. And that's why when we do our pledge statement each week, there's that line in there, provides for CSL Simi Valley now. That means providing for you too, the spiritual truth. What is the line from spiritual teaching says? It is you in whom I am well pleased. I give you the kingdom. Let's be happy, grateful receivers and givers as well. Join me now. Divine love is doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes. Divine love adjusts. Divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for CSL Simi Valley now. Divine love is victorious.
I surrender, I surrender. I am one in the spirit around me. I surrender, I surrender. I trust in God. I trust in God.
Giving and receiving are always in balance. We are so grateful for the gifts we receive as individuals and as a center. We are so grateful for the gifts we get to give as individuals and as a center. We are truly blessed, whatever part we play, both as givers and receivers. We bless each other, we bless the center, and we bless our community. And so it is.
Wow, we have come to the end of another service. And it's that time to speak a little thought of gratitude. I have a lot of gratitude for this community, for how we have stayed together while apart throughout this year. And though this may be the end of our 2020 calendar year of services in the Virch world, we'll be back in 2021, and we'll be back with Virch. There's still more work to do. Our frontline workers are busy. Our essential workers are busy. Our hospitals are full. Numbers are spiking. There's still work that we must do. We must do our prayer work as well as we do our move our feet work. Remember, the spiritual laws respond to our intentionality and also to our action, to our availability to be in movement to bring the good into our lives. And we have done that in so many ways. So I just want to express some gratitude today. First off, for Reverend Patrick and his talk, for Nikki Starr and her music, for Lane and the announcements this week, for Rob and his prayer work this week, for all those that are in the background helping to hold the center together, and the staff with Dee and Bridget and Lane and Dr. Susan and Gregory Seymour, and on and on and on and on and on. The regulars who come to Wednesday night and participate in our midweek service. Debbie Jarvis for putting together the yoga on a regular basis. For Mary DiVincenzo and her volunteer, her workshoppers who are doing financial prosperity workshopping. It's just so much that's been happening. The Giants. Oh my goodness, the Giants and the Sacred Sisters who've been holding together and keeping the high watch throughout the year. And of course, our Board of Trustees and all the adjuncts who work along with each Board of Trustee. It's a beautiful thing, the adjuncts. I love that we have adjuncts. We have people who support the board members and are ready. They're like the farm team for the board. When we need a person to come up to the board, we know right where to go, and that person comes in already knowing everything that's going on, because adjuncts sit right there at our board meetings, as you can too, because the board meetings are open to every governing member of CSL Simi Valley. I want to thank all the candlelight participants that were with us this week. Reverend Johanna, Reverend Jennifer, Reverend Maggie, Reverend Rob, the readers that were Emily McLaughlin, so sweet, and Patrick, and Cheryl, and Jim, and Maverick, and John Newbill, and Cherie Deeds, Dennis Bryan, and Dr. Susan with her closing prayer. It's been a great week. I hope your Christmas has been as wonderful as it has felt for so many of us, as I've heard and talked to many of you in the days since Christmas. Thank you for my weighted blanket. You know who you are. And thank you for you. Thank you for being here and being a part of everything that we do. And I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. We'll be live, all of us, next Sunday. And then the first Monday in January is a community salon. Today there will not be a Virch. No après Virch after service. No après Virch after service today, but we'll be back next week for that. And then this Wednesday we are going to be dark. So the whole week of the between Christmas and New Year's, there's no one at the office either. But we will be responding to voicemails and to emails, because as you know, our practitioners are always available for you for prayer. So if something comes up, you let us know. We are checking voicemail and email, even though there's no one in the office during the week. So that brings us to the close, and now it's time for our closing benediction. Join me as we say it together. Oh, and then we got Floyd Lula. Don't want to forget Floyd Lula coming up after this. All right, here we go. I'm at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love.
Hey, Simi Valley, we're grateful that you're here. This is from Floyd Lula.
We love you. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. name of love, with a heart of grace, overflow in us and decorate this place. As it is below, so it is above. May we always stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love, may we always be seeking out the best till we all are free. Living in a world we've been dreaming of, where we stand as one in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. 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 When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love. 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 Oh yeah. In the name of love. 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 Peace and blessing. We love you.
See you next week.